Hey guys, how's it going? So in this video I wanted to cover a little personal topic and show you guys the meaning behind my tattoo. And if you're new to the channel, yeah, I have a single tattoo. To those of you who already watch my videos, you might have seen it in my past videos, but here it is. Let's let that focus real fast. Alright, there it is. Sorry if it took a second to focus. Okay. So basically, as you can see right up there, it's watercolor red. What the red is supposed to be emanating from the lotus flower in the middle, so it's supposed to be a red lotus flower. And as you can see, there's a sword and a crown above it, and then there's an arrow at the bottom. Basically, if you put all that together, what it's supposed to mean is the energy of love and romance is extremely strong and can go in any direction and can always be replenished. You know, you can always break an arrow in half and you can always replenish it, and the sword and the crown represent strength and power. And yeah, the lotus flower, like I just said, represents love and romance. And the only other ode is the shape of the sword. The handle is a little bit of an ode to Jesus Christ as well, but that's not because I'm religious. You guys will find out in a minute when I explain it. Basically, I got this tattooed, I would say almost a year ago, maybe. I have something written down in my journal that represents pretty much the entire day that caused me to want to get this tattoo to begin with, because at the time I wanted to get a little sleeve on my left arm, and yeah, I didn't end up doing that. I was trying to like stick to ideas. It was originally going to be a tattoo from Spirited Away, which I would still love to get, but I basically did not expect to get this tattoo is what I'm saying. So let's start the whole story now. Basically, I was going on a date with this one girl at this coffee shop somewhere else. Then, long story short, the coffee shop date went well. I just didn't feel a connection. It was cool, made a new friend, that was it, you know, nothing important there. But as we were going out and exiting, I walked her to her car, and then from there on, I looked around and I was like, okay, you know what, I don't want to go home quite yet. It's nice, a little misty in the air, there's some water on the ground and everywhere, it had just rained. You know what, let's, you know, take a little bit of a walk. And so it's been a while since I explored a new city and took a walk, so I decided, why not, let's go get it, you know? And when I was walking, eventually there was this like black pastor guy that was walking towards me, and he kind of stood out in the crowd. His energy was like really like focused and like fast, so he was just like like walking like up to me, and I was like, oh crap, like it sounds terrible, but like the first thing that came to mind was I was like, this guy better not like come up and like ask me for like money or anything like that. He eventually did, but we'll get to that. And the reason why I thought that is because I've had that happen to me so many times. People come up and ask me for like money, like, hey, I need this, hey, I need that, and you know, whatever. But anyways, though, yes, so he came up to me and he asked for money. He basically said that his truck had broken down. He was a teacher at a school nearby, and so on and so forth. Basically, he was trying to get like him and his like family like home. So I offered him a ride in like my truck, but it wasn't ideal because there was a lot, and he had a baby as well. But yeah, so with that being said, from there on, he was like, hey, there's like an ATM over here, and so on and so forth. We walked over to 7-Eleven. I walked inside, and then the cashier was like, are you with this guy? And I was like, yeah, like, why? And she was like, you're not allowed if you're gonna be in here with them. And so at this point I was getting suspicious. I was like, wait, what? Like, what is this guy doing here to get like kicked out of a 7-Eleven? So from there on, we were walking to a different ATM with a bank nearby, and yeah, I was asking him like what was up with that, but he walked in there, somebody had insulted him essentially, and he said he spoke out and he shouldn't have, but it had happened, and he was like, whatever. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, sometimes, you know, shit just happens. But yeah, so I get the money. I think he needed like $30-ish, but I was only able to pull out like 40, so I just gave the rest to him, and he did like a little prayer. He asked me to hold the money, and he pretty much was praying and saying he wished the energy to come back to me like tenfold. And yeah, so I was like, okay, you know, and as we're walking, he was talking about a lot of religious topics, and I was talking about a lot of spiritual topics, and he wasn't like this nut job of of a pastor or a typical religious guy, so I thought it was interesting. He was basically complimenting my spiritual views with how they tie into religion and religious views, and I thought that was awesome. I was like, okay, cool, and I learned a lot from him. We were discussing, he was saying how faith works in the background in regards to religion, and I was saying, well, that's interesting because your thoughts exist in the fourth dimension. So with that being said, of course, you know, faith kind of works that way because law of attraction, you're manifesting your thoughts from the fourth dimension into existence, and that's why you can feel and sense your thoughts, but you can't really sense their presence, and they don't exist in a tangible way. Something along the lines, we're discussing those topics and whatnot, but eventually, after a lot of discussion into spiritual and like religion, we were just sitting there, and I remember I got this smile on my face, and I was just sitting there like, at first it kind of crept up like that, and then eventually I was like, just looking at him like that, you know, and I felt something like some like kind of like energy that was just really nice to feel kind of emanating from like either of us. And it was so strong that this one guy like next to me, he would look like some college student. He had like a guitar like backpack, and he started like walking by like next to us, and he was just in awe standing. And the pastor noticed, and he turned around, he said, hey, can you sense like the love? And he's like, no, I can see it. And he was like, just, you know, with this big smile like on his like face, and he was saying he could feel it, and he was like, wow, hope you guys have an awesome day. And we did the same to him, and I was like, oh my goodness. So I feel something coming from like internally, like so powerfully, to the point where this guy we don't even know just showed up, and he even said he sensed and felt it. I was like, this is great. But eventually we said our goodbyes and everything, and I started walking, and I just felt like this really nice positive like energy coming from me, and to the point where like I was just so happy, and I felt like I was just tripping balls, honestly, walking around everywhere like high on life, and it was awesome. Everything outside just felt great. I was just wishing good energy upon everybody. I felt lovely. I was just like, you know, wandering around, and like words and thoughts were just coming out of me that were so positive, and I felt like extremely euphoric after all of that. He pretty much like wished a lot of energy coming to me, and it was so strong that like when I got home after that, my roommate, I went up to my roommate and I hugged him, and then I started just drawing off the top of my head whatever came from my imagination. A lot of hearts, a lot of love, a lot of good colors just started springing out, and I was like, wow, if this is like, you know, if this type of like just loving energy exists, why even, you know, hate in this world? Like, what's the point of hating? Like, just love, you know, like one another, and it was great. At the time, I also had a friend who I haven't talked to in a little while. I just wished good energy to come to his way. His name was Brandon. I actually had a video, an unfortunate video about him, and he did commit suicide. But anyways, though, yeah, that was just really, really fascinating and cool to me, to the point where I was that pretty much drew me into like my spiritual, I guess, descent, because I was already in like a spiritual awakening, but that made me want to go a lot deeper. And I was like, wow, this is like just incredible. You know, it was freaking awesome. And, you know, sometimes I wish I could go back to that day. And I'm glad I have that memory written in my journal and my drawings, and I have a tattoo. So every time, you know, I see this, it's just a good reminder that, you know, love exists, and that is such a powerful and strong energy. And yeah, I guess negative energy can be powerful too, but man, if that type of energy exists and feels that good, then why hate? It's just beautiful. It's awesome. It's incredible in like my opinion. And I mean, obviously it has such a strong, profound effect on me that I got it tattooed. Like, I didn't even question it. I just like looked up designs, I drew on it, I went to an artist, and I just got it tattooed. And yeah, the tattoo does its job to this day. Not only does it look badass and awesome, but it reminds me that, you know, good, strong, powerful, loving energy exists in this world, and it's cool. Whew, I need to breathe though. Sometimes I just go on tangents, and like I forget to like breathe, and it becomes difficult. It's a little bit obnoxious, but anyways though, hope you guys enjoyed the story behind like my tattoo. Catch you guys in the next one.